What if the breakthrough you've been chasing isn't waiting on the other side of your next effort, but is quietly waiting in the stillness you keep avoiding? What if God is not asking you to try harder, but to stay longer? In a world that rewards hustle, achievement, and pushing through, it feels almost backwards to pause. But maybe what's been missing isn't your motivation, it's your nearness. Have you ever felt like you're doing everything right on the outside, but something inside still isn't shifting? You show up. You pray. You try to think positively. You read the books. You set the goals. But deep down, there's still this quiet ache. Why do I still feel stuck? Why haven't I changed? It's exhausting to keep showing up with good intentions and yet walk away feeling like you're still carrying the same weight. And maybe that's because you've been carrying something that was never meant to be carried alone. We've been trained to think transformation comes by effort. Fix your routine, get your mindset right, push through the resistance. And yes, there's value in discipline. But the kind of change your soul is longing for, the kind that reshapes the core of who you are, can't be forced into place. It doesn't happen by squeezing tighter. It happens when you loosen your grip. When you stop performing and start abiding. Maybe your next breakthrough won't come from another self-help plan, but from a sacred pause. Maybe you don't need to prove your worth today. Maybe you need to sit still long enough to hear God whisper who you already are. Because this isn't about earning something, it's about receiving someone. And His presence doesn't require your perfection. Just your presence. God isn't waiting for the polished version of you to show up. He meets you here, in the questions, in the quiet, in the places you've tried to fix on your own. So take a deep breath. Let the pressure fall. This is not a performance. This is not about appearing strong, collected, or holy. This is about being honest. This is about surrender. The kind of surrender that says, I don't have the answers, but I'm here. The kind of surrender that trusts God can do more with your stillness than you can do with your striving. You're not behind. You're not disqualified. You're being drawn back, not to do more, but to be with the one who does the transforming. So what if today, you stopped chasing change and simply sat in the presence of the one who changes everything? There's a part of you that you've tried to ignore. The version of yourself that still aches even after you've read the devotionals, recited the affirmations, and kept smiling when you wanted to cry. Maybe it's the part that quietly wonders, why do I still feel stuck when I'm doing all the right things? You've been showing up. You've been trying. But something inside still feels unfinished, unseen, untouched. And you're tired, not just physically, but spiritually worn thin from trying to hold it all together. You might be a working adult doing everything you can to be responsible, to provide, to stay steady for everyone else. Or maybe you're a young person constantly measuring yourself against a digital world that says you're not enough. Or perhaps you've lived long enough to carry regrets, ones you wish you could undo, stories you try to rewrite in your head late at night. Wherever you fall, there's one thing that's true: God is not skipping over your story. He's not waiting for a cleaner version of you to work with. He wants the you that's real. The you that's raw. The you that's still unsure. God doesn't transform your life by skipping over your heart. He goes through it, all of it. The mess, the memories, the numbness. He doesn't walk past your pain. He walks straight into it. Because He knows that pretending to be okay never led to healing. But honesty, that's where everything begins. He isn't asking you to be perfect. He's asking for your permission. Your permission to come close. Your permission to touch the places you've closed off, where shame made you silent and fear made you fake. He's not just interested in adjusting your habits, He wants to restore your heart. And the beauty of it all is this: when you give Him the honest version of you, He gives you the healed version of you in return. That healing might not happen in an instant, but it begins in the moment you let go of managing your image and allow yourself to be seen. Not the curated version, not the filtered one, just you. God meets you there. That's where His presence pours in, not around your pain, but through it. So if you're exhausted from trying to hold it all together, Maybe today is your moment to fall apart safely, in His arms. You don't have to impress Him. You don't have to protect Him from your truth. He already sees it. And still, He stays. Still, He says, "Let me in." Let that be enough for now. Not your strength. Not your certainty. Just your surrender. Because the only way to real transformation is through the honest path, and you never have to walk that path alone. God doesn't upgrade you. He remakes you. That might sound subtle, but the difference is everything. Upgrades suggest improvements to something already existing, like a patch to a system, a tweak to a habit, or a polish to your personality. But the gospel is not about polishing what's broken. It's about complete transformation. It's not a self-improvement plan. It's a resurrection. A divine do-over from the inside out. Ezekiel 36 verse 26 says it plainly and powerfully, "I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit within you." Not a better version of the same old thing, a new heart. A new spirit. That's not enhancement. That's recreation. That's the Creator doing what only He can do, forming something sacred in the dust of what used to be. So many of us live like we're trying to be upgraded. We clean up our behavior. We try harder. We set better goals. We measure our progress by how little we mess up. But deep down, the old patterns remain. The internal wiring of fear, shame, striving, and self-doubt still runs the show. Because changing the outside won't rewrite the code running your soul. But God never asked you to patch yourself together. He never handed you a list and said, "Just be better." He promised something deeper, something fuller. He promised a heart that actually beats with His rhythm. A spirit that actually responds to His voice. What He's offering isn't an upgrade, it's a holy replacement. A complete reworking of your inner life. You're not a broken phone needing a software update. You're a masterpiece in the hands of a master artist, being lovingly sculpted with every touch of grace. He doesn't restore to factory settings. He rewrites the blueprint. He doesn't just fix. He creates. And here's the radical invitation, to stop obsessing over what needs fixing, and to open your hands to receive what He's creating. To stop saying, "I need to do better," and start saying, "God, I need to be made new." This is where pride loosens its grip. Where shame loses its voice. This is where the old self finally lies down, and the new one rises, born not of performance, but of presence. Let Him remake you. Let Him rewire what you thought could never change. You don't have to hold on to the pieces of your old identity, hoping to glue them back together. That life is gone. A new one has already been written, and it begins the moment you say yes to the hands that formed you. This isn't a touch-up. This is transformation. This isn't cosmetic. This is spiritual. And it's yours, not because you earned it, but because you're deeply loved by the one who never settles for superficial when He can make you completely new. Transformation begins where your thoughts take root. Romans 12 verse 2 says, "Be transformed by the renewing of your mind," and that verse is more than a memory verse, it's a lifeline. Because so often, what holds us back isn't a lack of faith. It's the quiet agreement we've made with the wrong narrative. The pressure to be enough. The fear of being left behind. The lie that will never change. These thoughts may not shout, but they shape. And the mind is the soil where either truth or lies begin to grow. What if your stuck places aren't because God has withheld progress, but because your focus has been fixed in the wrong direction? The mind is a battleground, not between good behavior and bad, but between fear and faith, between shame and identity. And the enemy rarely attacks your schedule, he attacks your perspective. If he can shift your focus, he can shape your future. To renew your mind is to interrupt that pattern. It's the daily choice to bring your thoughts under the authority of God's truth, not just in crisis, but in the quiet moments when the old stories creep back in. And the beautiful thing is, God doesn't demand that you have it all figured out. He simply invites you to come closer and let Him speak louder than the noise. Try this, a 5-minute heart check. Before the world pulls at you, before your mind races with to-do lists and headlines, ask this one honest question: what lie am I believing today? Pause. Let the answer rise. Maybe it's, I'm not doing enough. Or, I'll never be free from this. Or, I always mess it up. Don't run from it, name it. Then, do something powerful. Replace it. Open the word. Let truth respond. Lie, I'll never change. Truth, he who began a good work in me will finish it. Philippians 1 verse 6. Lie, I'm too broken. Truth, the Lord is close to the brokenhearted. Psalm 34 verse 18. Lie, it's too late for me. Truth, behold, I am doing a new thing. Isaiah 43 verse 19. This isn't just a mental exercise, it's spiritual resistance. It's how you reclaim territory. One thought at a time. Because where your focus flows, your future follows. You were never meant to be driven by fear. You were made to be led by truth. So take those 5 minutes. Not to fix yourself, but to realign with what's already true. Let your thoughts be guided by the voice that spoke the universe into being, the same voice that speaks peace over your chaos and identity over your insecurity. Renewing the mind isn't about perfect theology. It's about proximity. Staying close enough to God to hear Him whisper, even when your doubts shout. And in that closeness, your thoughts will begin to shift, and with them, your life. You don't have to climb your way up to God. You just have to stay where He already is, with you. In a world that idolizes progress, performance, and proof, it's easy to believe that spiritual growth looks like a ladder. The more effort you give, the higher you go. But God never called you to climb. He called you to abide. In Exodus 33 verse 14, God says to Moses, "My presence will go with you, and I will give you rest." It wasn't a motivational speech or a checklist. It was a promise and a person. The greatest gift wasn't the promised land. It was the presence of the one who leads us there. Moses understood something that many of us still struggle with: success without God is just noise. A destination without Him is still emptiness. So Moses responded, "If your presence does not go with us, do not bring us up from here." That's the cry of a heart that has tasted God and refuses to settle for anything less. And yet so often, we do settle. We chase outcomes, not intimacy. We prioritize results, not rest. We measure our value by what we do, instead of who we dwell with. But there's a better way. A quieter way. A way that doesn't demand more from you, but invites more of Him. Rest is not the reward of the strong. It is the birthright of the surrendered. You don't need a title to be close to God. You don't need to earn a breakthrough to be near. You don't have to fix everything before you come. You just need to come and stay. Try this, a pause practice. Set a timer for 2 minutes. Midday. No agenda. No striving. Just sit. Close your eyes and whisper, "Lord, I'm here again." Not because you have something profound to say, but because you know He's still with you in the mundane, the middle, the moments that feel unremarkable. These are the places where transformation quietly grows. Presence is not a performance. It's not a task to complete. It's a posture of the heart, a gentle leaning toward the God who never left. And in that pause, something sacred happens. Your soul remembers what it forgot in the rush. That you are held. That you are seen. That you don't have to do more to be loved more. This isn't weakness. It's worship. It's not giving up. It's letting go. Because when your spirit stops sprinting, your heart can start healing. And maybe that's exactly what you need right now, not another assignment, but a holy pause. A whispered return. So come back again, not to perform, but to be present. Because the greatest victories aren't always found in motion. Sometimes, they're found in the stillness where God simply says, I'm here. And that's enough. Some days feel so ordinary that we forget God is in them. We rush from task to task, face to face, moment to moment, and we miss the miracle of simply being present. But what if today could become sacred? What if the sidewalk became a sanctuary, and the walk to your car became worship? The truth is, we don't have to escape our lives to encounter God. We just have to slow down enough to see Him in it. There is something holy about walking, not to get somewhere, but to become someone. Not to achieve, but to awaken. What if the most transformative part of your day wasn't your morning routine, your meeting, or your devotional time, but a 10-minute walk, done slowly, with a soft heart? A walk where you aren't counting steps, but catching glimpses of people God loves. A walk where the destination doesn't matter, because it's the becoming that does. Try this, the compassion walk. It's simple. No phone. No podcast. Just your footsteps and the presence of God. Go outside. Breathe deeply. Walk slowly. And every time you pass someone, whether it's a stranger on the street, a neighbor across the yard, or a face in the distance, speak a silent blessing over them. May you know peace today. May your heart be healed. May the weight you carry feel a little lighter. May God meet you in ways you didn't expect. You may never know their stories. But your soul knows this: every person is walking through something. Every face carries something unseen. And in that quiet moment of blessing, your heart begins to align with Christ's. Compassion isn't just a feeling, it's a spiritual discipline. And this walk becomes your classroom. You might find your anger softening. Your worries are shrinking. Your inner pace slows to match something more eternal. And what began as a small walk around a block becomes a holy ground for God to shape your heart. Because compassion isn't just what we show others. It's how we're formed to reflect Christ. And here's the mystery: as you silently pray for others, healing begins in you. Your inner critic grows quieter. Your burdens feel shared. Your connection to the Spirit deepens. It's as if the more you release love, the more your soul receives it. So go take that walk, not to escape your life, but to enter it more fully. Let your footsteps become a rhythm of grace. Let your eyes become lenses of mercy. Let the very air you breathe remind you that you are alive, and you are not alone. This is how today becomes holy. Not by changing your schedule, but by changing your posture. One step. One blessing. One act of compassion at a time. Lord, I'm coming to you this morning not with polished words or perfect prayers, but with a soul that's honest and a heart that's tired. I've spent so much energy trying to appear okay. Trying to keep it all together. Trying to fix the pieces of my life that feel beyond repair. But the truth is, I don't need another bandage. I need transformation. I don't need a better version of my mask. I need a new heart underneath it all. You already know the places I hide. The thoughts I wrestle with. The weight I carry in silence. You've seen the nights I've lain awake, wondering if real change is even possible for me. You've watched me perform while I withered inside. And yet, here you are, still near, still gentle, still willing to make me new. So I'm laying it all down. The shame I've carried like a second skin. The secrets that have stolen my peace. The fear that I'll always be stuck in this cycle. I release it all to you, not just because I want relief, but because I want to be restored. I'm not asking for a spiritual upgrade. I'm asking for a sacred overhaul. I want the kind of transformation that reaches into the places no one sees and rewrites the story I've been too afraid to tell. Change my desires, not just my habits. Shift my motives, not just my mood. I don't want to behave better, I want to become different. Teach me how to see through the eyes of mercy, to live with a heart softened by grace, to love without conditions or calculations. Make my mind a place where truth feels at home. Make my soul a place where peace is planted and nurtured. God, I want more than spiritual talk. I want real intimacy. I want to feel your presence in the ordinary, in the mundane, in the quiet moments where no one applauds and no one sees. I want my inner life to matter more than my outer appearance. I want my reactions to reflect your character, not just my control. I want to be known by you and transformed by that knowing. So come into every room in me I've locked. Speak into every lie I've believed. Breathe over every part of me that's gone numb from disappointment or delay. Touch the places where I've stopped praying. Revive the hope I've buried under survival. Let this be more than another morning moment. Let it be the start of a new way. I don't need quick fixes today. I need the slow, steady work of grace, and I trust you to do it, not because I've earned it, but because you are faithful. Make me new, Lord. Completely. Boldly. Quietly. Deeply. I surrender. Amen. Before you rush into the next thing, pause. Let this moment breathe. You've just prayed for transformation, not just on the surface, but in the deep places of your soul. And here's the truth, real change rarely comes in dramatic explosions. It often begins in the smallest yes. The quietest surrender. The sacred decision to let God interrupt the pattern you've been stuck in for far too long. You don't need to leave this moment with a plan. You need to leave it with permission to stop fixing yourself long enough to let God do what only He can. Sometimes we're so focused on what needs to be repaired that we forget to invite the repairer in. What if today, instead of striving to hold everything together, you simply held space for God to move? Ask yourself gently, with honesty and grace, what part of me have I been trying to fix without ever inviting God in? Where have I been relying on willpower instead of surrender? What wound have I tried to cover with performance or busyness or silence? Write it down. Don't judge it. Don't try to solve it. Just name it. Naming is the first step of releasing. Because once you name it, you can place it. And once you place it in His hands, healing begins, not through force, but through presence. Let today mark the beginning of a different rhythm. One that isn't shaped by shame or driven by urgency, but led by the Spirit. One that chooses presence over pressure, surrender over strategy. It doesn't mean you'll always feel strong. It means you'll know where to go when you feel weak. It means you'll learn to return, not just once, but again and again, to the one who never grows tired of restoring what you thought was beyond repair. Now take a bold, quiet step. Share this moment with someone else. You know someone who feels stuck, tired, unseen. Someone who's caught in the same loop you've been trying to break. Don't preach to them. Just send them the prayer. Let them know they're not alone. Let them hear these words. You don't have to strive to be new, you only have to stay close. And if this prayer met you in a place you didn't expect, if it stirred something inside you, respond, not for me, but for yourself. Type it. Whisper it. Pray it. Say, God, I surrender my pattern and receive your presence. Let that be your declaration today. Not a promise to be perfect, but a commitment to stay near. Because the pressure to change isn't yours to carry alone. God is near. He is faithful. And He's already doing the work. Stay in it. Stay with Him. That's where the real becoming happens. After all the striving, all the silent disappointments, and all the exhausting efforts to hold it together, the character in this journey discovered something far more powerful than self-help or spiritual performance, the healing presence of God. They began in a place of burnout, tired of faking strength, weighed down by shame, unsure if true change was ever going to come. But in the quiet place of surrender, they found more than relief, they found restoration. God didn't ask for perfection. He asked for honesty. And in response to that raw openness, He didn't offer just improvement, He offered a new heart, a renewed mind, and a whole new way of living. Their transformation wasn't flashy. It was formed in small decisions, to sit in stillness, to walk with compassion, to let go of old lies and replace them with truth. It was in choosing presence over pressure, and surrender over control. Slowly, the person they were trying so hard to become began to emerge, not through striving, but through staying. If you're reading this today, let this be your reminder: you don't need to fix yourself before coming to God. You simply need to come. Let His presence interrupt your patterns. Let His truth rewrite your inner world. Don't chase the next breakthrough, stay near the one who transforms. One honest moment at a time. In a culture obsessed with doing, fixing, and constantly proving our worth, the greatest lesson from this journey is simple yet life-altering. Transformation doesn't begin with effort, it begins with presence. We often believe that in order to be loved or used by God, we have to come clean, put together, and full of faith. But what this story reminds us is that God does His most powerful work not in our strength, but in our surrender. The real change we long for, peace in our minds, healing in our hearts, and freedom from shame, starts the moment we stop striving and start staying. When we stop managing our image and let ourselves be truly seen, that's where the Holy Spirit begins to do the slow, beautiful work of renewal. And it's not just spiritual, it's practical. It shapes how we speak, how we forgive, how we love, and how we carry ourselves in the everyday moments. So what's the takeaway? Don't wait until you feel ready to draw near to God. Come as you are. Come when you're tired, confused, angry, or afraid. Because His presence doesn't require your perfection, just your permission. Let today be the day you pause long enough to be held. Let your healing begin in stillness, not striving. And remember, the most holy ground you'll ever stand on is not in your success, but in the honest place where you let God meet you right where you are.